Hello everyone. I'm sure that vocabulary sounds boring to you until you realize that it can literally change the way you think, speak, and also score. And that's why in today's session, we are not simply going to mug up some random words. We are actually going to learn some high impact words through context building, examples, and real life usage. And that is the reason why we are here. I'm Sukanya, and let's start the first session on Word Power Made Easy. Today, it is going to be a very interesting class because you are going to understand your personality type. And also, I am going to understand my personality type by the end of it. So, the first set of words that you're going to see, you need to understand that every human being comes with their own set of uniqueness. We all have our own quirks, idiosyncrasies, something that makes us, unique, different from others. And it can be a combination of factors why you are the way you are. It can be environmental and genetic factors. It can be the culture that you are born into. It can be the kind of upbringing that you must have received growing up. Okay, and that is what decides who you become. So let's get started with the very first word. Although the first word is primarily negative in its connotation, let's just hope that we do not relate to it. So let's get started. I hope you can see my screen. Me first. What does that mean? It means your attitude is pretty simple, straightforward, and direct, and you only care about, the advantages that you're going to get, the benefits that you're going to receive. So your first question to every deal is, what is in it for me? What am I going to get out of it? And if I do not get anything out of it, then that means I'm not going to spend my time on it. So such people are very ruthless, and when it comes to their own advancement, they always will keep it much above the levels than all the other factors included. So as you can see, for them this is a tough world. And here, dog eats dog. That means for victory, you have to do everything. By hook or by crook, you're supposed to win. So such people are basically known as egoists. Can you see it? Egoists, where their ego actually triumphs over everything else, right? So now, let's see the next word. Again, the next word that you're going to see is the height of conceit. What's the meaning of conceit? Now, have you ever met a person who simply loves to blow their own trumpet? Keeps on talking about themselves, my new car, my new house, the money that I have in the bank, the gold that I have recently purchased. Somebody who actually uh, keeps talking in such a way that it becomes obnoxious, unpleasant, right? And their conversations usually revolve around themselves. They do not want to know how you have been doing. They only want to tell how they have been doing. So such a person who is vain, who only cares about themselves, is basically an egotist. And let's hope that we are not these people. Let's hope that we do not associate ourselves to this. Okay. Now the next word is pretty interesting, and they kind of go by the catchphrase, let me help you. Now these people have actually realized the bigger goal in life. They have realized that true happiness only comes in, selflessly working towards public welfare. And that's the reason they have committed themselves, devoted themselves to public welfare. And such a person is actually known as an altruist. Now the thing is, if you associate with this personality type, you already get my respect. Okay? An altruist is a person who selflessly devotes themselves to public welfare. Let's move to the next one. Leave me alone. That is their catchphrase. That means, I like my own space. I like to stay in my own cocoon. Please do not interrupt me. Do not, distract me. I just want to have my own space. I don't want to share it with anybody. Now, here they have given an example of a biochemist studying a colony of bacteria under the microscope, where you minutely observe everything. And then these people start to question themselves. What do other people think of me? How do I look? Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Now, these people are master overthinkers, as you can clearly see, because the time that they spent with themselves is obviously maximum, and that is what it results into. So these people might seem unsocial at first, but at the same time, they really want to be liked by everybody. And they might appear shy and quiet in a party, but they do definitely open up with the right set of friends, right set of people. So such a person, and I think most people fall into this category, such a person is known as an introvert. Now these people, they may even be a genius or eventually turn into one, because obviously they have the quality of self-reflection. They become better as they age. I hope so. So moving to the next one, the opposite of introvert is let's do it together. Okay, the more the merrier. And in order to understand this personality type, you need to understand your teachers, counselors, administrators, your insurance agent, because you might have seen them talking, you know. I would say such people are chatty, they like to have conversations, they usually show interest in you, they make friends really quickly, and that's the reason they're really good at marketing as well. So as you can see, you are usually happy, generally full of high spirits, that means energetic, enthusiastic, somebody who brings people together, like the life of the party. Such type of people are the outgoing ones, extroverts. The opposite of introvert is extrovert, one who is out there, one who is not scared of having some company. Okay, and a combination of introvert and extrovert, I think most of you might already be aware of this word, and that is ambivert. Now your homework for the day is, I would want you to do some research on the newly coined personality type, and that is introvert. And if you do that, please comment in the chat box. So who is an introvert, and do you relate yourself more to introvert, extrovert, ambivert, or an introvert? Now, I consider myself as an ambivert. Why? Because I like to have my own space, but then if I am with my friends, I like to enjoy it to the fullest. So I am outgoing when the time demands, and I do not like to share my space when the time demands. So this is who I am, and that's why I consider myself as an ambivert. Both the qualities in about equal proportions. Okay, so this is the most, I would say, normal, personality type. Most people are ambiverts in general. Now moving to the next one. Okay, are you people hater? Do you feel that humans have destroyed everything and they can do nothing right? So as you can see, whenever we talk about somebody, talking about the perfectibility of the human race, your first response is nonsense. Humans have done nothing, they have only degraded everything. So when you kind of hate on mankind, on other human beings, that makes you a misanthrope. A misanthrope is a person who is people hater. Okay, and there are people who hate other people, yes. We live in a very different world, and we kind of get all types of personalities. So yeah, this is one common personality type too. Usually I would say people in positions which allow them to destroy other people, like dictators, okay, like leaders. So we can say that misanthropes is another unique personality type, but hopefully there should not be many. Let's see the next one. Okay, we were talking about people are no damn good, but now we are talking about how women are no damn good. And that only happens when a woman might have hurt you. And usually males have fragile egos. That is a hot take, obviously. I'm going to get a lot of backlash for that, but yeah, that is true. So when I say that you have been wounded by a woman in the past, it could be a mother, it could be a motherly figure, your sister, or somebody that you have loved dearly. And that is what has turned you into a misogynist. You hate all women now. You are a women hater. By the way, these type of traits are usually seen in psychopaths. Okay, so psychopaths kind of project these kind of traits. A misogynist is a person who hates women. A misanthrope is a person who hates everyone. Okay, so there's a clear difference. Marriage is an institution, and who wants to live in an institution, right? Now, the thing is, there are people who love getting married, and then there are people who do not really believe in the institution of marriage. And as you can see, members of the opposite sex are great as lovers, roommates, apartment, or house sharers, but not as lawfully wedded spouses. So these people are not interested in getting married. Okay, and usually when people date each other, I think the final commitment, the final seal is getting married. But as you can clearly see, you are commitment phobe probably, or sometimes your commitment is deeper and more meaningful if freedom is available without judicial proceedings. So there are two things attached to it. Okay, now what do we call such a person? A misogynist. By the way, the root word miso actually means hatred. That's why you learned misanthrope, misogynist, misogynist, and miso means hatred. Hatred for humans, hatred for women, hatred for marriage. So wherever you see miso, remember that it means hatred. The next one is that the flesh is heir to. What does that mean? Let's try to understand it. A person who does not believe in material or materialistic pleasures, somebody who loves to spend their time in reflecting, contemplating, in becoming better. And they want to have the simplest of food, the simplest of drinks. They don't really want to indulge in luxurious pursuits. And such a person obviously is usually a monk. ठीक है, हमने साधु लोगों को देखा है ऐसी लाइफ जीते हुए. So somebody who lives a life of abstinence from earthly pleasures, and the goal to achieve here is spiritual perfection. Okay, so they want to be a better person by the end of it all. So such a person is known as an ascetic, as you can see. And like I've told you, usually monks live such a life. So now that we are done with the 10 personality types, let's try to remember them in a much better fashion by incorporating the knowledge that we have received just now and putting it into the exercises. So let's get started. Let's see the first exercise. Now, can you work with the words? What does that mean? So first of all, they have talked about 2 long steps towards mastery of the expressive words in this chapter. Now you need to speak the thoughts that were aligned here in a loud fashion so that it kind of gets reverberated and you kind of remember it for a longer run. Okay, for your third step, match each personality with the appropriate characteristics. So I'm going to give you a match the following table, and I'm going to give you some time to align your thoughts, and let's see whether you get the answers right. I think let's discuss this. Okay, egoist, a person who is ruthless when it comes to self-advancement, right? So what should be the answer? Can you see this? Let me change the color of the pen. This is the first one. Egotist, a person who keeps talking about themselves, keeps on stating their accomplishments. So what should be the answer? Egotist talks about accomplishments. Correct. Altruist, a person who is interested in public welfare. So this should be the answer. Introvert, one who does not really like to share their opinions out loud, likes their own space. What do you think? What should be the answer? Turns thoughts inward. Then we have extrovert. Extrovert is basically outward, turns thoughts outwards. So fifth one, right? Then we have ambivert, is a mix of introvert and extrovert. So this is the sixth one, very clear. Misanthrope. Mis means hating, and who are we hating here? We are hating humans, all humans. We are not discriminating. So one who hates people is a misanthrope. Misogynist, one who hates women is a misogynist. Where is that? Here. Misogamist, one who hates marriage. Where exactly do we see that? Here. Who is an ascetic? An ascetic is a person who does not pursue pleasures of the flesh. Now these are your answers. I hope by now it is crystal clear what each personality type means. Moving to another exercise on the same set of words. And here you go with the answers. So if you want to take a screenshot, you can. Moving to the next one now. Now, again, they are asking you, do you understand the personality type? So now they are going to give you some situations where you basically have to pick yes or no. Okay. Now let's see. The first set of questions. Is an egoist selfish? I told you both the words egoist and egotist, they have negative connotation. Egoist means somebody who only cares about themselves, right? And always asks, what's in the bargain for me? What do I get out of it? So yes, of course, they are selfish. Is modesty one of the characteristics of the egotist? That means, are egotists humble people? Do they really respect other people? Do they really listen to them? Or do they simply talk about themselves? They simply talk about themselves. They are not modest or humble. So, no, this is not one of the characteristics of an egotist. Is an altruist selfish? Quite the contrary. An altruist is a selfless person, one who cares about others. So, no is the answer. Does an introvert pay much attention to himself? Of course, yes. But do they also pay attention to other people? Let's quickly go back and check it out, so that you have a clarity. And I would want you to read and then give me the answers. This is the one. I hope you are done reading. Let's go back and let's try to figure out our answer. Yes. So we are on the fourth one. An introvert does pay much attention to themselves, 100%. Does an extrovert prefer solitude to companionship? Quite the opposite. Extrovert loves company. So, no. Taking you to the next set of questions. Yes. Are most normal people ambiverts? So yes, the most common personality type is ambivert. Does a misanthrope like people? Mis means hatred, so of course no. Does a misogynist enjoy the company of women? Hates it. Does an ascetic lead a life of luxury? Opposite. Does a misogynist try to avoid marriage? 100%. Marriage hater. So these are our answers for the second exercise. You can take a screenshot if you want. I'm taking you to the next slide now. Let's try to recall the words that we have just learned. And I want the answers from you guys, so please spend some sweet time with these set of questions. Give me the answers in the chat box, and then we move ahead. I think by now you should have memorized it. Let's see. Okay. Who lives a lonely, austere life? Austere life, simple, without any materialistic pleasures. And they have given you the hint as well. An ascetic, isn't it? Whose interests are turned outward. Turned outward means they love company. So such a person is an extrovert. Who is supremely selfish? Who is supremely selfish? I'm leaving it to you. Think and let me know. Who hates people? Misanthrope. Whose interests are turned both inward and outward? Obviously, an ambivert. Here, the answer is egoist. I hope you have noted it down. Taking you to the next list. Who is incredibly conceited? Conceited means vain, only thinks about themselves. Egotist. Who is more interested in the welfare of others than in his own? Is altruistic. And who hates women? Misogynist. Whose interests are turned inwards? And who hates marriage? Now, I have given you a homework, and that is to identify and research on the newly coined personality type introvert. Okay, and do let me know in the comment section which is your personality type. Would love to hear that. And until next time, we'll meet soon with next set of words. I hope you enjoyed this session, learned something new out of it, and would start using it soon enough. So happy learning, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. This is Sukanya signing off. Bye-bye.